Time to start the west. Well, as I stand in front of the, call it 98% completed retaining wall in the east, it's time to start cutting the west side foundation and make sure that we're all lined up from the measurements. Again, it's got to play off of the east, so I've got to get those measurements aligned and really thought through, because can't have any mistakes once the bricks start going up. Ron's doing this cut in. We're gonna go ahead and pick up a brick, right, all the way around. So we're gonna save a brick, said a better term, because what's gonna happen here is he's gonna come back into it, cut down about 14 to 20 more inches into the valley here, a 2-foot swath, so that we can put the base in. Then we've got to put the brick is going to sit above the grade of that. And then we're going to be able to gain a brick, and then we're going to put some dirt up there about 1 to 2 bricks high. Because you got to remember, when this is the flood condition side per the original planning video I showed you guys. So you got to be careful as to go too far down. You basically don't need to do that. You just need to build more and more rock into the base, because we're going to want about 2 to 3 feet of rock for frost heave purposes. But the front of it, you're only going to see about 2.5 feet of wall, whereas the exact same location I'm standing on is 4 feet of wall on the other side. So this is where you got to kind of make sure that you have those heights right to match across. I'm going to be doing a lot of thinking through when I go to put those first set of bricks in. Pretty exciting. But this area here that I'm standing on is right above the 2 culverts. And I can only go down another 3-4 inches, and then I'm hitting culvert. So this morning we had the turn all figured out. We did the measurements based off the turn in the east, and I think it went really, really well. Pretty simple layout. Then also too, this corner is going to end up to be significantly filled by the dig out. So we got a big pile of dirt over there, and we have this pile over here, and I think we're going to work out this corner just fine. So all we're doing is putting the blocks on top of it, okay, draping it down. It's neat. I think the two most critical days when building on a retaining wall is one, the dig, obviously making sure you have exactly where you want to be at the end. You know, if you don't start there right, you're the second day is the placing of the first base bricks. And you know, we won't finish that today, but I will start today with all the proper measurements, getting things level, getting things set up for success, set some base blocks down, test, and then, you know, go for it. But you know, after that, it really is just a labor, you know, because it's a lot of just physical work, throwing blocks, keeping things kind of organized and straight. So, but today I'm going to go ahead and start the process of getting all the measurements right, get those first blocks down. I'm going to start with the south side of the creek as the culvert divides the north and south. Work the south side, get the turn exactly as I want it, get that thing laid out, and I'll probably pause there today. I still got to go back to the east side and glue down the caps. So, you know, some work there to do. But yeah, with that, I've got my road base in the bucket so that I can drop it down when I'm ready to go. I'm going to get some more measurements on height. Unfortunately today I don't have Ron now, so I'll have to kind of jump in and out of the tractor and run down, and it seems for whatever reason to be a little bit more involved as far as getting down there than it was for the east side. So with that, I'm going to get to it. It's going to be a difficult week for heat wise. We're going to get north of 100, so I won't be able to get myself going as fast as I'd like to. I'm hopeful this won't drag past 6 weeks, but you know, we'll plan for 4. We'll probably land at 6 to get this job done. When I say 6 weeks, I'm not talking 6 full weeks. That project on the east side basically took 18 days of physical work. So it doesn't mean 6 weeks, but it doesn't mean it isn't. So anyway, let's get to it. So I'm working these bricks, and I just came to the realization that this is going to be a shallower turn. I kind of expected it to be different, but not as different as it's turning out to be. One of the interesting things is the length is going to be identical to the east wall, but the road itself is pulling in about 10 to 15 feet closer to the houses. So as a result, I kind of had to pitch towards the road in the east. Here I got to run to the road and basically running parallel to the road as we come together around the culvert area over there. Additionally, I got the creek as a control to my north here, and I've got the willow that's established. It's not like the other side where I'm planting the willow. I have to avoid the roots and everything else with this willow. So I'm coming out further towards the culvert to make that happen. And as a result, this is straight. So the corners are control, the creek's a control, the willow's a control, the street's coming in as a control. This is what it is. The other side could not have gone out any further either, because we also have the telephone pole and the other utility of the internet. So it is what it is, and I'm not overly bothered by it. Initially in my head I think, man, that should have been perfect symmetry. But the entrance in itself has so many other things going on, from the fences to the trees to the road pulling away. You know, the road itself, if you were to look at our driveway, creates an acute right angle. In other words, a little bit less than a right angle going up on the west side, and obtuse, more of an angle than right angle going to on the east. So as a result, that's going to create a driveway that's at an angle visually. When you come in, we actually have a rounded corner here, because you come in, you cut that corner naturally. That's what we all do. But then on the other one, it swoops out further, and it looks like the radius is like twice as long in going east towards the lake. So it is what it is. I think it's going to look beautiful either way. I just had to get my mind around it for a little bit, and unfortunately, I had to dig out about a foot along this edge here, because I'm bouncing off this edge closer than I had thought. So I've got about 1.5 to 2 feet on the north side of the bricks, and then over here I'm right up against the line. And I was hoping to land it right down the middle, but I can't, because I'm trying to make it angle slowly towards that corner, towards the pipe I put in for the catch basin. Here we are, no big deal, let's keep going. Yesterday I was able to get the first base course in around the turn on the west side. It's base courses are always fun. You know, it's a lot of work to make sure it's right, but if you do it right, then of course the layers or courses afterwards go really, really well. So with that, I think I really am happy with the turn. At first it didn't make sense to me how it was laying out versus the east side. But it's odd, if you go up to the top of the hill where the crest over, and you can see down here, you can see the formation of it. It's just that the road pulls in and out and away from the wall, making it look different. When you're down here, it just doesn't feel right. But it's coming together. I like what it came out to be. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start to fill in. I'm going to use road base to just fill in the cracks between each one of the stones, and then get this thing all laid out. Then I'm going to pull the black fabric back over the top of it, and then we'll put dirt as a dirt burn around this after I put in the next course. I'm actually going to have 2 bricks below the ground. I probably didn't want to do that, but because the way it's working out, I did want a deeper base on it, because this side of the property is very wet. It's odd that the driveway literally changes the outcome of that. If I was to turn the camera around, you would see kind of a lush meadow behind me, and then on the other side it's very arid. So obviously dams work, and they change how the course of events go down for an area. And in our case, you know, it keeps the west side wet and the east side more arid, which then it has to be, you know, worked on to get it to even be green in the first place. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get to it. Well, I'm going to call this day done. It is getting really steamy out here. You can see me in my funny hat. So I'm going to go ahead and call it cool. It's the second course in. This course will have gravel up to it. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to put the fabric in between the 2 courses, because if you recall, we have to put down some riprap. And that fabric's actually going to go on the outside of the wall and then go towards the creek, so that you can put the rocks on top of the fabric to keep the soil from moving on you. So that's the next step, is to get that fabric in and then set another course. I won't put the rocks in until the very, very end, because obviously I don't want to trip over them. And then also set our back in and have all that put in real nice and filled in and what have you. I'm going to probably go ahead and put the fabric all the way back, and then rock all the way up, drainage rock up at a V. And so we're also going to have the drain tile behind not this course but the following course. And then that's our first run of geogrid will go in on the 3rd course. So on top of the 3rd course, because frankly put, we're just running out of places. And oddly, on that course, I have to start putting in the forms for the fence. So yeah, a lot of action happening in the next couple courses here. And I can't proceed too much further without cutting down our culvert box, the in box there, because I'm going to obviously have to put a concrete top on that so that I can stack bricks on top. So tons more to go. We're just starting this thing out. It looks like we'll be putting up with the weather for probably a couple months now. So it'll be an elongated process, as I spoke to earlier. So see you next time.